Texarkana, Arkansas Board of Directors to order. A couple of housekeeping things. If you wish to address the board tonight, we have citizens communication cards on the ledge. You could get one of those cards and fill it out, get that to our city clerk. That would be beneficial for us to have a record of you speaking. It is not a requirement. The second thing, if you have your cell phones, if you'll please silence your cell phones, we'd appreciate that. At this time, we'll have a roll call.
Director Brewer,
Here.
Director Minor. Here. Director Roberts,
Here.
Director Hart is absent. Director Harris,
Here.
Assistant Mayor Hollebush,
Here.
Mayor Brown.
Here. At this time, we'll stand. I will give the invocation tonight. Our Pledge of Allegiance will be led by our Chief of Police, Christy Bennett. Would you pray with me? Gracious Father, thank you for this day and all the blessings that you've given us, and thank you for bringing us here tonight, and be with us as we travel home safely, and be with us as we conduct the business of the city tonight and listen to the concerns of our citizens. For it's in Christ's name we pray. Amen. Christy.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. So having said that, we'll move right on into our citizens' communication time. Is there anyone here tonight that wishes to address the board during citizens' communication time? Director Harris?
I might know one not coming up. Well, I got, over the past 2 weeks, I guess I got two emails on some information I want to share with the public. One of them, I don't know if the public always aware of, that the White House is now pushing a program called Affordable Connection Program called ACP. And under that program is really to help low to moderate income person that if you're getting, if you're currently receiving government benefit like SNAP, Medicaid, SSI, WIC, PEP, grant, free and reduced lunches, where you can now get up to $30 a month on free on your internet service, and also up to $100 for a laptop or tabletop desktop computer. And I'm trying to see where you can go and get more information. Well, I don't have that on there, but I'm probably gonna put a link on my Facebook page in regards to that. And then the other information I got is up on the AEDA, which stands for U.S. Economic Development Administration. Well, yesterday, they just launched it where they're gonna get out $45 million for people who, for funding opportunities for grants. And it's gonna be on the two scale. One of them is a venture challenge. They're gonna seek high growth and technology center to stimulate involvement in economic prosperity, to create job skill and high skill and high wages job. And what they're saying that you can maybe apply for a grant for that. And the other one is capital challenge, will increase for equal base and capital improvement operation and early stage investment fund and angle network investment training opportunity. And what it is that, and you're gonna have up until June the 13th to apply for these grants. And where you can find out more information about these grants, you can go to https at eda.gov.oie.bill to scale. And like I said, on the Capital Challenge grant, they're gonna be up to $300,000 available to educate and connect investment, and grant up to $750,000 and to create, scale, and operate equal base investment funds. So, well, like I said, if you find out more about it, just go to that email or that website where I just not recently read and stuff. So, and there was some more information on this, but I'm just reading, just paraphrase from the email that I got. So, I think there'll be someone around here. All the time getting information from people asking me about how can they get grant and they starting up a new business and stuff, I think that's a good opportunity to do that. And also, if I'm not mistaken, there's someone that based on this region, in Texas County region, Arkansas region, if you need assistance in writing the grant, you can just contact me. And there's someone in Little Rock, if I'm not mistaken, that can help you, will give you free assistance in writing, helping you write this grant. So, and I don't have that information with me right now, but if anyone who want to apply for one of these grants here, they can just get up to me and I get a personal phone number and information contact. That's it.
Okay. Does anyone else wish to address the board? If not, seeing none, hearing none, we'll move right on into our presentation section. Tonight, we'll have a presentation by our Texarkana, Arkansas Police Department on their 2022 strategic plan presentation. Chief Christy Bennett.
I provided a copy of our strategic plan for the audience that would like one. And I do believe that the board should have their copy as well. First, I'd like to say good evening and thank you for allowing me a few moments of your time to discuss our strategic plan for 2022. I would first like to say thank you to Mayor Alan Brown. I took the interim spot in September of 2020, and I immediately saw the need to begin to plan for our future. With the current climate in law enforcement, it is a very strong political platform right now, and I wanted to make sure that the citizens of Texarkana that they saw our transparency and was very well aware of what we were doing and how we were trying to do it to accomplish our goals and missions. And for order for us to do that, we asked the help of Mayor Alan Brown to put together our strategic plan. And, you know, it's a work in progress. This is our second year to have it in place. And I believe we're doing a really good job of getting where we need to be and making these plans for the future, which is so very important in law enforcement. And as you will see, it's several pages, and I know we don't have time to go through all of that tonight, but it has in there our mission statement, which is, on that page right there, and everything in our strategic plan is based on our goals and objectives of how we serve our community and how we can be progressive and move forward into 21st century policing. Community-wise, a big part of community policing is kind of the hot topic now, but I want to make sure that our citizens here in Texarkana understand that we've been doing community policing for a long time, and we find the value of that is very important for us to be successful in our job. And we know that by building strong relationships with our community organizations, our schools, and our youth, we can not only be more successful in our operations, but also in our goals and objectives. You'll see through here that we've got it all out there. We talk about our strengths and our weaknesses on page 4. This was all compiled based on our evaluation form that every officer in the agency, no matter rank or title, completed previously in October, and we build through that to decide on where we need to have our key focus areas and goals. So those go through there, and you can see we cover operations, training, and everything from how we spend our money each and every day that you give us to how we do our operations as far as our administrative goals and objectives to ensure that we have the best police officer that's well trained and available to serve the public. You guys have that. You're more than welcome to look over it if you've not been able to and contact me with any questions, or if you have any prepared questions for me, I'm here to answer them as well.
Citizens Police Academy.
Did you have fun?
Fantastic. I did. And I don't know if, I graduated with Director Brewer, and I know Director Hollibush. Have you taken it?
Yes.
With
I think Mayor Alan Brown was in the second class, and Stephen Hollibush was in the third.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
It truly is. Every time I see an officer that has stopped someone on the side of the road, my mind thinks different now. It truly does. It makes you think, and I encourage anyone who has an opportunity to take it, please take it. And I hope you have another one this fall.
We are. This is our first year that we're going to get to do 2 in 1 year. And
You're referencing the Citizens Police Academy.
Yes.
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 Yes, yes. And we welcome anybody in the community, a business owner, even if they live on the Texas side, to please take part in that, because it's a really good opportunity to see how we can serve you better and how you can help support us as well.
And the food is great.
Yes.
We don't cook it. A previous CPA graduate takes care of our food.
I appreciate what you guys do with the Pride Academy.
Thank
I
you.
was talking to Shauna the other day, and y'all are opening that up to every fifth grader this
Every
year?
fifth grader. We are so excited about it. It was what we found, and we're working on our year-end report. It's almost completed. And it kind of shows the increase in juvenile crime that we've had during the pandemic. And if you talk to anybody in the school, they'll agree that due to our children not being in school and not having set, consistent food, education, outreach, it's really made a huge impact here in our city. And it's disappointing because we had so much ground and momentum going with Pride, and when we had to cancel those 2 Pride Academies, we're really seeing the effects. So we're going all out this year. We've invited every single fifth grader, and we are hoping and we are ready for each and every one of them.
Well, if you need to,
We need volunteers, absolutely.
I think CPA graduates
I
fit that bill.
Don't worry, you're gonna be called upon to help.
Yeah, we'll get him in there.
Any other questions?
I have one.
Yes, sir.
I would give you an A when it come down to children, when it come to community policing. But when it come down to more adults, you know, the problem I see that you're not gonna get a lot of adults that want to come down into the bi-state to engage in with the police, cause they feel that, you know, to me, and from what I'm hearing, there's somewhat of a intimidated location that's going down into the bi-state. But what I'm trying to get at is any way you can have more of your community police maybe out as in more in the community from the community center. And what I'm getting at, because I know during the October, you know, you have your I think it's October, you have that National Night Out. But it was some way if you can do something like that, not waiting to just October, because, you know, come October, you know, I know the police go around to each neighborhood and you know, and visit with the community. But to me, I would, from what I'm seeing and from what I'm hearing, you know, and I'd like to see that police more engaged in the community, not, you know, even though you got the community police like that thing you have downtown, but in other places throughout the community, not just down at the bi-state.
Yes, sir, you're absolutely right. We are not going to get a bunch of kids want to come and hang out with us at the bi-state, so we really try our best.
I'm not referring to kids, I'm referring to people. The adults.
Oh, sorry.
And I'm go ahead and put it more, you know, the adults that more, I'm talking about more adults, you know. I'm saying that, I'm not saying, I give you an A when it comes to children, you know, our
Okay.
police department. I give you an A when it comes to how police interact with children. But when other than the children aspect, you know, I don't really want to put a grade on it right now, but I would like to see more going to the centers, you know, because one time I made a challenge to the last chief that it was no challenge come. I said that I would like to see the police get to know 5 people who they have them arrested, you know, get to know them on a first name or second name basis, you know, just 5 people that they have them arrested. Now, I know in some way they may be hard to do, in some ways, you know, just being on how the police go by and approach things. But I do think that community police would solve a lot of issues, especially the crime issues per se. And I think that if you engage the public a little bit more, I think that would, you know, I'm saying the public more in the upper age adult. I'm not, like I said, I'm not referring to children, I'm talking to the public, I mean adult age people, so.
Yes, sir, I appreciate your comment, and we are trying our very best to do as much as we can. You are right, community policing is essential to having reduced crime rates and to involve everybody into the law enforcement to where it's not just taking bad guys to jail. And we really strive with that on conducting 1075s, which is in our policy. A 1075 is a community contact that is not 9/11 related or not an initiated call, which means we encourage our officers to do a minimum of 5 where they seek out in the community, even if it's a lady out in her yard working, to get out and know their name, because we know the value of community policing and knowing our neighbors.
Chief Bennett?
Yes, sir.
I want to thank you for those weekly reports. You know, the transparency in those numbers to see where the spikes are at and where we're enforcing it or what have you. You know, that's really good to see that.
Well, thank
to know
you.
what progress, what level we're on and what have
We
you.
have a girl, her name is Amy Smith, and she is an excellent resource. She loves numbers, and she can make numbers and make them look beautiful. Unfortunately, in our profession, those numbers aren't always pretty, but we do want to make sure that you know where we're at and where we stand as far as the crime in Arkansas or Texarkana. When you see our year-end report, I think you'll be very pleased. Sometimes things are not as bad as they seem. I was just getting that and going through that information today, and I don't want to say too much because we're going to release it pretty soon, but it's interesting to see how well our entertainment center district is doing, how we had almost a 50% reducing in calls in the last 9 months down in the entertainment district, and that's contributing to, you know, we've got a lot of people down there, but increased police presence, but also you've got an excellent group of business owners down there that are really policing themselves and encouraging people to abide by rules and take care of each other. And that's what it's about. It's a success story in itself.
Good deal, because when I see those numbers, you know, it reminds me when I was in the military for 25 years, is that, you know, I'm looking at those numbers and I see where we're triangulating at. I was like, okay, yeah, I see this, I see that. Yeah.
Well, thank you so
again.
much.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. And again, if you have any questions, I'm always available. I think everybody on this board and in this room should have my cell phone number, and I'll easily give it to you if you want to call and chat. Terry knows I'll answer that phone. I may be on the mower for a few minutes, but I'll get right back to you.
Chief, would you give them an overview of the agency accreditation?
Sure. ALEAP is the Arkansas Accreditation for Law Enforcement, and we began that process in 2018. We were one of 12 police agencies in the state of Arkansas to receive the ALEAP accreditation. We're very proud of that. It took several years to prepare for that, and it's not something that you can just get one time. It's actually harder to maintain your accreditation than it is to receive it. So we are already in our first reaccreditation process. Our audit will be May 10th and 11th. They'll be coming down from the state. We've sent them all of their information, and so far it's been approved. And of course, you know, with the data breach, that was very difficult because we had a lot of information that was lost and we had to go back, and they were very kind to us and working with us. But right now, the state of Arkansas has 75 police agencies that are working for their first year accreditation. Why? Because now it is a requirement to receive federal funding for you to be an accredited agency. We're way ahead of that. We've got it. We've just got to work really hard to maintain it.
I'm going to say one thing, and I know you can go sit down. I hate to keep you up here, but
You're fine.
I know in the Citizens Police Academy, we have built-in training with our officers that other agencies don't, and we're kind of like the model for the state. Would you explain a little bit of that for the people that are here?
Sure.
And the folks watching on YouTube?
Absolutely.
Because it's fantastic.
It is, and I've lived in this era for so long. I didn't appreciate it until I had a chance to go to the Chiefs Convention back in September, and I realized how blessed we actually are. Because out of we're down to 70 right now, but out of 70 police officers, over 75% is instructor certified, which means you have over 75% of our officers that have been trained to teach. And throughout my entire career, we've always been an agency that's been well-versed in training, and it's been looked upon from the state because we have several classes that are here held in Texarkana that we have other local agencies come down and travel a long distance for because it's free for them. And if we can give everybody else that opportunity, we absolutely will. But, you know, it's interesting to see that a lot of agencies don't have that. At the Chiefs Conference, I was, kind of an eye-opening experience that there are so many other police agencies that don't have the opportunities that we have in Texarkana. And again, we're very blessed to have such well-versed training in our officers. But education is key, and that is how you stay above and you be progressive, and you ensure that our officers are well-trained and safest as possible, so that's why they can take care of their citizens. So we know the value of training, and we do our best to try to provide that locally and regionally to other officers in our area. Did I answer your question, or did I?
You did.
Okay.
You did well.
Sometimes I get so excited about all the good things we're doing, I just don't focus the way I should sometimes, so.
Thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Any more questions for Chief Bennett? Any more comments? Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Just moving right along, we'll get into our consent agenda. We have item number 2 and 3 on our consent agenda. Item number 2 is approval of the minutes of the regular meeting on April the 4th. Item number 3 is to adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager to purchase a control system from the Montgomery Technology Incorporated for the Bi-State Justice Building Jail. What would be the desire of the board for the consent agenda?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt the consent agenda. Is there any other discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The consent agenda passes. First item on our regular agenda tonight is to adopt a resolution to accept the 2021 audit engagement letter prepared by the accounting firm of BDK. Our finance director, Rhonda Henderson. Tyler, would you grab those lights for us?
Good afternoon, Mayor Brown, Board of Directors, and City Manager, Mr. Ellington. This item is to approve a letter of engagement with the firm BKD LLP to conduct the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, and the Bi-State Justice Center's 2021 annual audit and preparation of the annual comprehensive financial report. They are experienced in conducting government audits and are also used by other cities within the state of Arkansas, as well as other cities throughout the United States. The fee for their services is $103,500 for audits of the financial statements for the city and Bi-State, with an additional fee of $5,000 for one major program audited under uniform guidance. The city manager and finance director recommend approving a one-year letter of engagement. The one-year engagement is a 5% increase from 2020 to 2021. Are there any questions?
Tyrone,
Yes, sir.
2021, was that the first year we used them, or have we used them before?
No, sir, we've used them for 11 years.
Okay.
Mhm.
You said 11 years?
Mhm. This will be year 12 for them.
Oh, thanks.
Does anybody have any questions for Ms. Henderson? Yes,
I don't have a question for her, I have a comment.
okay.
I still in the notion of that the state would do this for free. I still feel that our city is wasting $103,000 or $109,000 by paying someone to do this audit when the state would do it for free. And other municipalities, western municipalities, but the school is done by the state with no charge, and also the county is done by the state with no charge. And my issue is not the audit itself, is who doing the audit, because I just let you know, if you don't recall, that the last time the audit came up for last year, I did vote for it, and I know B&K done the audit, but it's not the audit itself, it's who doing the audit, and I just feel that that's money could be utilized otherwise. I just got a phone call the other day about this guy, still got issues over there on Ash Street. When it rained, his yard still flooded now, and in the city, he was telling me that the city claims they don't have the money, which I told him that the city would never have the money to do something in some instance, but they have the money to do what they want to do. So you got to understand that, and I just think that money could be utilized, and trying to help somebody. Like I said, they got a flood over there on 8, I think it's 811 Ash, and it's another one up to the street. So that's the reason why I think last year, I think 4 or 5, maybe 8 years, I haven't voted for a paid audit. And I'm going to continue not to vote for a paid audit. So, and That's just my comment.
Yes, sir. I did want to let you know that there is always a significant backlog when it comes to the state providing the city's audit, so we will have to deal with that issue. Also, I would like to reiterate this again, but with the 2020 cyber attack that we had, we didn't actually have a functioning accounting software for the first 2 to 3 months of the year. While I have full faith in the work that my department does, and I did a lot of it myself, I would like a second set of eyes on that information that was entered the first quarter of the year, just to make sure we didn't miss anything. You will always want to be safe than to be sorry. While I don't have any concerns there, I'm just from my professional point of view, I would like to have that done. Also, we are required for federal grant guidelines, as well as our ability to borrow funds, to have a annual comprehensive financial report. The report that you've received directly from the state is a cash report, and there is a significant difference in what those reports look like. The financial statements that are provided to you by the state look very similar to what you receive monthly that's produced directly by our department. You will receive that same type of report, while the annual report that's provided by BKD is typically a 150-page document that has several notes. They also audit all of our grants. So even if we did go with the state, we would still have to have someone to come in and do our grants. Also, the city of Texarkana has one of the most difficult audits in the state because we have so many joint ventures. We have the airport, we have T-Line, we have Bi-State, and all of those things have to be audited as well and pulled into our financial statements. And so because of all the moving factors that we have, it's important that we have a reputable set of auditors come in and review our reports annually. And not to say that the state isn't, because they're very capable, but it's good when you actually have an accounting firm that comes in and review those books.
You
Yes.
say T-Line,
Yes, sir.
if I'm not mistaken, did we just vote for that? Don't they have their own self-audit?
Yes, sir. They have their own audit,
I
but
see.
their audit is also, the information from their audit is also pulled into the city's audit because it's considered a joint venture for us. So their assets are also recorded on our books as well, along with the airport. And that's why those are considered those general governmental services.
Any other discussion? Any questions from the board, from Ms. Henderson?
Thank you.
David?
Just one real quick question. 12 years ago, they used local accountants to do this. I think we changed over. I don't remember all the details. So maybe you could give us a brief why we don't use local accounting firms?
Yes, sir. I have, a few years back, I actually did put out an RFP for accounting services. At that time, I did receive only 2 RFPs back. One was from Holiday Lemons and Cox, they were the company that used to perform our auditing services, but they were only able to do the city's audit. They were not able to do the city's audit and Bi-State audit along with all the joint ventures that went into it. So we would have still had to get BKD to do the Bi-State audit to go along with what we have.
Any other discussion? If not, we'll have the city clerk read the resolution.
Thank you.
Whereas the firm BKD LLP has submitted a letter of engagement to conduct annual audits for the city of Texarkana, Arkansas, and the Bi-State Justice Center for 2021. And whereas BKD LLP has experience with conducting such audits and similar governmental audits, including audits for other cities within the state of Arkansas and throughout the United States. And whereas the city manager and finance director recommend approving a 1-year engagement with a 5% increase from 2020 to 2021 for $103,500, I can't say this. $103,500, I still can't say it. Say that number.
You got it.
100,
108.
it's all total 108.
It's $103,000.
$500.
There.
Thank you, Tyrone.
Sorry.
assemblage, and $5,000 for the anticipated one major program audited under uniform guidance, and whereas the city manager and staff recommend board approval. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Directors of the City of Texarkana, Arkansas, that the city manager is authorized and directed to enter into a letter of engagement with BKD LLP in the total amount of $108,500, passed and approved this 18th day of April, 2022.
So the city clerk has read the resolution. What would be the desire of the board to adopt? So a
Second.
motion and a second to adopt. Is there any other discussion?
You want to read it again?
Call the roll, please.
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
No.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes, and the resolution passes. Moving right along to item number 5, to adopt a resolution granting permission to the city manager to submit an application of 4 lots of land to the Commissioner of State Lands, Urban Homestead Act of 1009 of 1993. City Manager Jay Elling.
Mayor, this is a follow-up to my visit to the State Lands Commissioner after I had started the draft of a pilot program concerning a number of our dilapidated properties in the city. And as that process works, I learned a lot from the commissioner and his staff that day. And as it works in our declaration for condemnation, then it moves to the State Lands Office. And it, when it lands there, then it again has a series of days and time frames, which probably last another 3 years or so before those lands can be then issued out or issued back to the local governmental entity. This is the first of those type of process. I think we had some others in years past, but as I visited with them, I was trying to set up this for future use as well, as we condemn some of the properties that we've dealt with here in the last year. So as those came through the process, we would be able to have the ownership rights to that property at some point in time. And they said, oh, by the way, we have 4 lots that are available now that have already gone through our structure. And I said, I'm available, I'm ready. So these are those 4 lots, and this allows me to apply to them under the Homestead Act of 1009 of 93, where those properties would be transferred back to the city of Texarkana, Arkansas. The plans on those 4 lots are very still fluctuating in my pilot program, but again, I am looking to create infill housing on lots that are available. So trying to rebuild neighborhoods, trying to put new properties back into the neighborhoods. And at least 3 of these 4 I know, and I went again this morning to visit, and I was going to make sure I gave you those addresses. And that's 713 Ash, 1515 Dudley, 2017 Washington, and 402 Ferguson. Of those addresses, the only one that all 3 of the 4 are vacant lots. The one at Dudley, 1515 Dudley, is the old funeral home on Dudley. You'll know where that is. I can't remember it's on a corner.
Moore's Funeral.
Dudley and, yes, Moore's Funeral Home. So it's been in this process for probably now about 6 years totally. And so we'll be looking at that property. I've had some discussions with the Housing Authority as one of our potential rebuilders of the community as well. So I'll be reaching out to them with these properties in the next few weeks and seeing if they are interested in stepping up with us. Again, if you'll remember when I talked about that pilot program, I also talked about Habitat and their ability to do some of those same type projects. We've done some with Habitat before. We also have two more parcels that we're working on Senator Street that the city owns as well. So we're going to try to get a number of these into a pilot program and show that we can move some properties back into the neighborhoods. So that's what these four applications are in relationship to.
Yes.
I got a question, that the property on 1515 Dudley, I don't know if you was aware, they got a for sale sign up there by Griffin Realty. How's that gonna be in equation in the picture? If somebody is trying to sell, well, Griffin, I don't know, who's the person, but it's a for sale sign that you are aware of that?
Yes, sir, I am. I saw that today, and where these properties are, they're still in control of the Commissioner of State Lands right now, okay? So Griffin has that list, knows that list, and is trying to market that property to sell it, okay? As when we apply for that property, then the transfer, right, the sale by somebody else will go away, and that property would be transferred to us. If it's sold in the meantime, Director Harris, it may get sold in the meantime, but if it doesn't, then it will be one that we will get to deal with.
And are you aware that there's I don't know what date next month, it's a sale, land sale at the convention center of the Arkansas State Land Commission? I don't know how that in fact in these.
You're talking about they're conducting the sale there of different properties.
Yeah, I don't know any of these properties.
And I didn't look to see what that date was, but I'm aware that it's coming up, and that's the reason I wanted to get these applications in as well.
How quickly will we hear back from them?
They've said within 2 or 3 weeks, once we get that application into them, and anything that they're dealing with, and just as an example for the Dudley piece, if they're dealing with something and they have an active application from a community for that, then they'll take that off that list.
Any other questions or discussion? Hearing none, we'd have the city clerk read the resolution.
Whereas city staff has identified 4 parcels of real property for which application might be made to the Commissioner of State Lands for donation to this city under the Arkansas Urban Homestead Act 1009 of 1993, and whereas the 4 parcels are 101-061-0, Lot 2, Block 12 of the original city subdivision in Ward 2, and the address is 713 Ash, 435-001-0, Lots 1 through 3, Block 1 of Oak subdivision in Ward 2, with the address of 1550 Dudley, 299-010-0, Lot 12, Block 1 of the Hillside subdivision in Ward 3, 2017 Washington, 549-018-0, Lot 12, Block 3 of the Weber subdivision in Ward 2, and that's at 402 Ferguson. Whereas the city manager and staff request authorization to make application for donation of each parcel under the terms and conditions of the Arkansas Urban Homestead Act. Now therefore be it resolved that the city manager is authorized to make application with the Arkansas Commissioner of State Lands for donation to the city of the parcels identified above in accordance with and pursuant to the terms and conditions of the Arkansas Urban Homestead Act, passed and approved this 18th day of April 2022.
So you've heard the resolution read by the city clerk. What would be the desire of the board to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Is there any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor. Yes. Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes, the resolution passes. Moving right on to the last item on our regular agenda is to adopt an ordinance authorizing the temporary fuel surcharge to be added to the Texarkana Water Utilities bill for waste haulers. Our Public Works Director, Tyler Richard.
Good evening, Mayor and Board of Directors. We received a request from our waste haulers about a month ago for a temporary fuel surcharge to combat some of these rising fuel costs for them. We met with Solid Waste Committee. Out of that committee came the ordinance that you have here. So I'll run through this ordinance real quick for you. Just let me know if you have any questions. So we'll be referencing the EIA, which is the United States Energy Information Administration. We will monitor weekly their price per gallon. If that reaches 431, which I believe as of last week it was like 484, something like that. Once that reaches 431, a fuel surcharge of 41 cents per customer per month will be enacted. If that gets to $5.51, an additional 48 cents will go on the bill. So that would be a total of 89 cents. After that, once it reaches $6.51, it goes up another 8 cents. And $7.51 or greater, it'd go up another 3 cents. So it would max out at $1. And this would also cut out at the end of the year. Now, if that will actually work in reverse order as well. So if that price per gallon drops below whichever threshold that is, that increase will go away or will drop down to that next level. Now, it will remain into effect for a minimum of 60 days or 2 months. That is it's going to take some time to process that and whatnot. So at any time, they'll receive that increase for at least 60 days. Let's see if I missed anything here. So as it stands right now, they would get this increase immediately. In the ordinance, it says May 1st. So on May 1st, that would start. You have any questions?
Yes, so I understand that the cap, this variable cap is for increase and decrease, for this variable cap that you just mentioned. Now, for the start on May 1st, is this for a year or 6 months?
end of
or
the year.
To the end?
To the end of this year.
It'll expire at the end of the year automatically.
Correct.
Because the
Then we-
CPI kicks in January anyway, doesn't it?
Yes.
The automatic CPI increase will
Gotcha.
kick in January, yes.
It's going to work for 2 months, period.
Good deal.
So it doesn't go into effect until the price is 431?
Right,
It's
which
already
is,
in
it's above
effect,
that
so-
now, so.
Gotcha,
It'll
okay.
take effect immediately and be in effect for
Okay.
up to 60 days.
Mhm.
And that's 21 cents.
41
And
cents.
41 cents.
Oh, 41.
41 cents. There'll basically be a line item on the water bill that says fuel upcharge, fuel surcharge.
Surcharge.
Yes, sir.
Fuel surcharge, and that 41 cents will appear on it. Director Harris?
Oh, I guess, he haven't said what type of gas, but I was just letting the public know that he referring to diesel gas. You didn't say what type, gasoline.
My apologies. It is diesel, yes.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, this is an ordinance. What would be the desire of the board to have the ordinance read on its first reading tonight?
First reading abbreviated form.
Second.
So have a motion and a second to have the ordinance read on its first reading in abbreviated form. Is there any other discussion? Could you call a roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush, Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance providing for temporary increases of rate paid to residential and commercial solid waste hauling contractors, and like temporary increases in residential and commercial solid waste removal rates payable in accordance with the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
So the clerk has read the ordinance on its first reading tonight. What would be the desire to have it on its second reading?
Second reading, abbreviated form, please.
Second.
So we have a motion and a second to have it read on its second reading. Is there any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollabush,
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
An ordinance providing for temporary increases of rate paid to residential and commercial solid waste hauling contractors, and like temporary increases in residential and commercial solid waste removal rates payable in accordance with the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances, declaring an emergency, and for other purposes.
So the ordinance has been read on its second reading. What would be the desire of the board to have it read on its third and final reading tonight?
Third reading, abbreviated form?
Second.
Motion and a second to have it read on its third reading. Is there any other discussion? Could you call the roll?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollowbush,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes.
an ordinance providing for temporary increases of rate paid to residential and commercial solid waste hauling contractors and like temporary increases in residential and commercial solid waste removal rates payable in accordance with the City of Texarkana, Arkansas Code of Ordinances, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
So the ordinance has been read on its third and final reading. What would be the desire of the board to have it adopted?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to adopt. Prior to the board voting to adopt, is there anyone here that wishes to speak for or against this ordinance? Seeing and hearing none, could you call the roll?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollowbush,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes. So the ordinance passes. The staff has asked for an emergency clause to be attached. What would be the desire of the board to have an emergency clause attached?
Motion to attach an emergency clause.
Second.
So I have a motion and a second to attach an emergency clause. Is there any other discussion? Could you call the roll, please?
Brewer,
Yes.
Minor,
Yes.
Roberts,
Yes.
Harris,
Yes.
Hollowbush,
Yes.
Brown,
Yes, an emergency clause is attached. Moving right along, prior to us going into executive session, if it's okay with the board, we could have our board director's commentary at this time. Is there anyone that wishes to address the board? Okay, at this time, we'll have our city manager's report.
Mayor, board members, I've got several items for you today. I had a meeting today with our RDOT district engineer, so I wanted to let you know a couple of things that he's got going on. So for this summer, they've got some overlays on some state routes, and that includes 71, 237, which is Rondo, I believe, Sugar Hill Road, and 108. So those 4 state routes will get overlaid this summer. Already out through their bid process and awarded, so they will get done. Excuse me, I know several of you were able to make the Ready event and the certification of our 1,350 acres with the governor, so that was a great welcome and a nice kickoff for certification for that property, and its opportunity to be serve our community as well as bring somebody in that will help our community as well. So I was excited about that certification process. I'll be in Arkadelphia on Thursday and Friday. I have the Arkansas City Managers Group that meets. We don't get together but once a year, so we'll be talking about some of those common things that we all deal with, whether it's fuel adjustments or state lands or whatever it will be. And so I look forward to meeting with the group. A&P meets this week on the 22nd at 4:30. Okay, so just remind you of that one. We have Food Truck Festival at Bobby Ferguson on the 30th. Black History Association Parade on the 30th as well. And a couple of other events. The 22nd, the Twin City Meetup downtown. And we've got our dance fitness classes starting at the rec center on Tuesday night. So our rec center programming is continuing to enhance and get added to every week just about. So we do have on the 28th, remind you, the 28th from 6 to 8 is our visioning session at the rec center for the comprehensive plan. So we'll have 6 or 8 tables set up. we'll get broken up into groups with our Garver consultants, and we'll talk about what our community needs to look like for the future. So I encourage you to be a participant in that.
Jay, I have a question on that. Is that open to the public, or is just the community members?
Yes, sir, it's
Committee.
open to the public. If the public would like to be involved in that, we'd welcome them, because we'll try to accommodate as many folks as we can that evening. We've probably got 50 or so on the list already, and hopefully, we'll get 30 of the 50, and then whatever else the public will put in there with us, we'll be glad to let them participate with us. I've also been meeting with a group from Arkansas High School in relationship, and so I'll have a pre-meeting with them on the day before our meeting with my student council group from Arkansas High as well. Our Animal Control and Adoption Center is working through some of the issues that our citizens have brought to us. I went from my focus group that I started on the animal control facility now to an advisory, a larger group. So I have about 8 people who are in part of that advisory group. My smaller group was about 4 people. So I added another 4 to that. We meet here in the next week or so, and we'll continue to work our way through. One of my actions here just recently that I put out was a reduction in some fees for the rescue agencies, meaning I reduced the fees for the rescue agencies. We had set those at $40. We're rolling those back to just $10 an animal at this point in time, just enough to cover our cost in relationship to what shots we may issue during that time period. Again, we are in our community. I don't want to say we're in a crisis, but we've got problems as far as numbers of animals in our community. So we're going to try to figure out how to deal with those the best we can, and this is just one method that encourages our rescuers to step up and help us out as much as they can. I did find out, and Tyler got a message today from our RDOT folks as well, that we did get the final permit issued for the Interstate 30 lights. So hopefully we will be able to get that project kicked off, and hopefully in a reasonable time frame, we'll see some lights on our
Good deal.
Arkansas side.
Thanks, Tyler.
And I think
3 years. The only bad part about it, now we gotta start paying that light bill.
It's gonna go up.
so those are all my items tonight, Mr. Mayor.
All right. Any questions or comments after the city manager's report? Okay. If not, we will excuse all guests. We have a quick executive session to consider some appointments to the Board of Adjustment and the Historic District Commission.